Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Boulder Literacy, the series where we break down world-class climbing content so that we don't just watch, we watch and learn. Today takes us to Prague for the 2024 World Cup. On this last boulder of the finals, we have three athletes tied for first: Nile, Natalia, and Mao. Nile is slightly ahead with only 8 top attempts, while the others have 10. Everything will be settled on this final boulder, which has a funky beginning. The athletes have to start from a hang, and then do a giant campus move to a slopey zone. From there, they stand up and move to the left. The top may look unassuming, but the final hold is awkward, and it's hard to control it with both hands. Anon starts us off, and she runs into a lot of difficulty with this first move. A top here would really help her gold medal chances, but she can't seem to figure out a good way to do it. As time ticks down without her even getting the zone, it puts her medal chances in jeopardy. Mao is up next, and she eventually manages to get all the way to the last hold, but she can't control it. She does the same thing 2 more times, and finishes the route with just zone points. Let's see how she learned to do this tricky start. The main difference here is her left leg. On success, she has it in a straighter position, and on her failure, her left knee is more bent. Notice on success her right foot is above her left, and on failure her left foot is on top. This might seem small, but the careful positioning of her left leg makes it easier to hold the slopers. At the very instant when she fails, it's her left leg swinging out from the wall that pulls her right hand off the sloper. When she succeeds, it's because her left leg never came up so high and in toward the wall. This means she never had to deal with it coming down and out so hard. Watch as it seems to float in midair. And finally, pay attention to the hips. On failure, they rotate to the right more, which is caused by the sloppier leg control. Less rotation and floppiness is the key to success here. Zalia tries her luck at this first move, but it's tricky for her as well. She doesn't manage to get up to the zone on this last boulder. We'll break down her technique, as well as Anon's, later in this video. Nile shows off her strength on the first move, making it look much easier than it is. However, she runs into difficulty finishing. She gets the zone another time, but never manages to send the whole climb, putting her in a solid first place, but still leaving the door open for Natalia. Again, we get to see a masterclass of leg control, but this time with the right. This one is even more nuanced, but Nile's mistake is that her left leg and right legs end up swinging at awkward times. In her fix, she has them synced up to cancel out each other's momentum, producing that smooth up and down of the hips right at the end. Notice how on failure, her right foot stays at roughly the same height the entire time, and consequently, her hand gets ripped off the wall right at the exact moment it has nowhere else to go but down. On success, she extends her right knee at the apex of her height. This sends her right foot down quickly, perfectly timed to be on the come up again and peak at the exact moment her other leg starts going down. This here is the key instant. Everything is the same between the 2 tries, except on one, her right leg is moving up, and on the other, it's moving down. And that makes all the difference in the world. Sometimes it's best to tighten up your movements, and sometimes it's best to add a little bit of momentum if it's in the perfect spot. It all depends on your personal beta and your climbing style. With Anon missing out on the zone, Osh has the opportunity for a medal here, if she can at least get a zone. And she makes that part look easy. As far as the top, she slips off right at the end. Interestingly, she isn't able to repeat her success and leaves with just a zone. It all comes down to Natalia, who can win gold here with the top and guarantee a medal with a zone. However, she goes through a very different beta on this first move. She tries getting her foot high and keeping the left hand on the start hold. It takes her a couple tries, but she manages to stick it eventually. And when it comes to finishing the climb, she shows off some amazing grip strength to hold the top. This was a super clutch finish by Natalia, and it earns her a gold medal, followed by Nile and Osh. For that, and her unique style, Natalia is definitely today's MVP. Let's break down both her start and her finish in a little detail. Once again, this first move is all about the right leg. She learns to keep that knee bent, which keeps her right hip higher and tighter to the wall, instead of letting it flop down. Now let's see how Natalia got the top where no one else could. First, compared to Mao, we notice they have very different betas. I like Mao's creativity for trying to step up with the left foot, but to hold this final position would take a crazy amount of tension and balance. That right foot is super liable to barn tour if it gets even the slightest bit off the wall. It's very hard for Mao not to push her hips off the wall with her left foot. Meanwhile, Natalia's beta mainly takes grip strength as it keeps her hips nice and close while they swing parallel to the wall. Nile chooses the same beta as Natalia, so we get to analyze their differences in depth. At the moment their hand first contacts the top hold, notice how Nile's left shoulder is higher while Natalia has them both flat. This, combined with the fact that Natalia's right elbow is more bent, shows us that Natalia jumped more directly up and pulled more with her right arm. Notice how Nile's hips are way to the left of her right hand while Natalia's are closer to being directly underneath it. This gives Natalia more control in the air. Natalia also does a better job of spreading her hips midair. Notice how her left knee is less perpendicular to the wall. And finally, she keeps her right knee extended, which delays her hip twist. By extending mass away from her body, she makes that left leg swing slower. Think of a figure skater controlling their spin speed based on how close their arms are to their body. Note at the end here how Nile's hips have flipped her off the wall and also flipped her left leg down, while with Natalia it looks like she's doing a core exercise. Her hands and feet, all four of those points, are on the same two-dimensional plane, and her torso is spread in tension between the 4 points, with momentum pulling her feet away from her torso and her grip strength pulling her hands away from her torso. It's really incredible what's on display here. To wrap things up, let's do a quick analysis of Zelia like we promised earlier. We can see that compared to most athletes, Zelia goes for a super perpendicular swing. This beta means that she has to flip her hips up super high and then quickly flip her shoulder up after that. Notice how her body is super horizontal. She even pushes off the wall with her left foot here, but that can't make up for the fact that this beta involves way more coordination and precision than the normal one. Because she gets in so close to the wall to push off of it, that comes back to bite her at the end when her hips inevitably start moving away from the wall. So next time you see one of these sideways lâché moves, don't be scared to swing sideways. It's often the best beta. On that note, let's take one last look at the scoreboard as we congratulate Natalia once again on an incredible win. Join us tomorrow for coverage of the men's boulder finals.